come over here.
Why? Ah!
Here, we gonna stop talking to man. It's not Abdi anymore, it is Alyssa. What is your name?
Abdi!
What is your name?
Abdi!
What is your name?
Abdi!
What is your name correctly?
Alyssa!
Come over here.
Yeah, man. So we back in the club with our bodies rocking from side to side, side to side. Thank God the week is done. I feel like a zombie gone back to life, back to life. Hands up, yeah, suddenly we all got our hands up. No control of my body, ain't I seen you before?